Hi, today I'm going to be going over the example where you are asked to solve for y in the equation 10x minus 2y equals negative 14. Um, this is going to be very similar to what we've done with one variable, but this time obviously I have two, and you're not going to end up with an answer like x equals a number. In this case, since we're solving for y, we're going to end up with y equals, and then we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff over here because we have our variable and we can't simplify it down. Alright, so let's take a look. We're trying to get y all by itself, so I'm just going to draw a little arrow here. Okay, so this is what we're trying to get all alone. So I want all this other stuff to move. So just like in our other equations, we're going to start with whatever's added or subtracted to that variable. So even though we have the minus 2y, that's not what we want to get rid of first. We want the y to stay stationary and everything else to move. So we're going to get rid of this 10x first. Okay, it's a positive 10x, so I'm going to subtract it. And I'm not going to subtract just the 10 because the x is its friend. They're one term together, so they go together. So I'm going to subtract a 10x. And whatever I do from one side, I have to do to the other. So I subtract a 10x from both sides. Okay? Then on this side, these cancel out. And I'm left with a negative 2y, which is really important that you bring down that minus sign and make it a negative 2, otherwise it changes your whole problem. Equals, now, I'm not going to take negative 14 and negative 10 and end up with a negative 24x. These are not like terms. I cannot combine them. The 14 does not have x and the 10 does, so I can't combine them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write them horizontally here in my line. And I'm going to write my 10x first because that's the form we need to get used to for future. So I'm going to write it's a negative 10x, and then I have a minus 14 behind it. So notice all the signs are staying with what they go with. Now, I still need to get y all alone with absolutely nothing by it, so I need to get rid of this negative 2. So it's negative 2 times y. So to undo multiplication, I divide. And I'm trying to get rid of that negative 2, so that's what I'm going to divide by. And then I have to divide this whole thing by negative 2. So that means negative 10 and negative 14 will both be divided by negative 2. So negative 2 and negative 2 cancel out, and I'm left with y. So I'm going to first take negative 10 divided by negative 2 will give me a positive 5. I still have that x there, so I bring it down. Now, this time I'm negative there, so I'm going to bring down my minus sign. So then I have 14 divided by negative 2, which will leave me with a negative 7. Two negatives here make it a positive, so I'm going to change those to plus signs. And that is solving my equation for a variable. So notice I have y equals, but it's not a single number, it's an expression on that other side there. If I knew what x was, I'd be able to find out what that number would be. So now that you have this somewhat figured out, hopefully, I want you to try one on your own. And here's the problem I want you to try. Again, you are going to solve for y, but you're going to look at the problem 6x minus y equals 4. So try that on your own now.